We are following up with another team member here, this National Rehabilitation Awareness Week. We're kind of hitting the east side of the state here, really nice. We're talking to another staff person out in Covenant, at the Mary Free Bed Covenant location on the east side of the state. It is the 2023 National Rehabilitation Awareness Week, and I've got Jacqueline Kareus with us, joining us to talk all things rehabilitation. Thank you so much for jumping on the live feed with us.
Happy to be here, Chris.
So tell me a little bit about who you are and what type of work you do.
So as Chris said, I am Jacqueline Kareus. I am the team leader for Mary Free Bed at Covenant in Saginaw Township on Mackinac Road. I am a treating orthopedic therapist. I also work with vestibular or dizziness patients, and I help manage our team and our scheduling and our staffing as well.
And so you've got 12 years of experience that you've been working. What's it like being an orthopedic physical therapist? In what kind of training did you have to get into this role?
So I have both my Bachelor's of Science and my DPT from Grand Valley State University back over there on the west side. And then over the years, I've taken some additional training in Certified Integrated Manual Therapy program. So it's really focusing on whole patient care, looking at how ways that dysfunctional movement patterns might be causing pain and looking to correct that so people can move with more freedom.
So we know what rehabilitation is. We've heard the term. And we know what physical therapy is, but what to you as a physical therapist does rehabilitation mean?
So the way I see our job as rehabilitation professionals is helping people get back to their lives before they were either hurt or injured. Sometimes it's an accident, sometimes it's surgery, sometimes it's I woke up and my back hurt. I kind of laugh with my patients, like whatever's cramping your style, we want to fix that and we want it to be easier for you to do your life.
And we, as working in a hospital, we know inpatient, outpatient. What is that difference to you?
So with outpatient rehab, it is generally people from the community coming to us at any one of our locations, either over here with Covenant, or I know that there are a bunch over on the west side as well. People who have had surgeries or injuries or falls or sports-related problems, even patients who are having trouble with feeding, swallowing, eating, dizziness, they can all come see one of our rehab professionals.
And on outpatient side, there's other clinicians that are working with you in the facility. How is physical therapy just one part of rehab, and how do you all work together?
So physical therapy is usually about big movements. We'll call them gross motor. So walking, standing, stairs, squatting, getting in and out of your car, that kind of thing. Our occupational therapists work more on our fine motor movements. So maybe handwriting, using tools, getting people back to different activities they have to do for their work. And our speech language pathologists work on communication, be it voice volume, or using assistive communication devices to help people communicate and experience their world more fully. OT and speech also can work on swallowing and people who need to help transition after a surgery or another injury that makes them unable to eat food normally.
So in your specific job, what are the types of injuries or illnesses that you work with, and what are the types of services you provide?
So my specific job, it's basically, I kind of laugh that it's I fell down and went boom, or it's I had surgery. Anything kind of a big joint, shoulders, knees, hips, elbows, back, head, neck. I work on headaches. I work on vestibular patients. Being an orthopedic therapist is a lot of being a generalist. I spent a lot of years out in our location in Hemlock, and you definitely become a generalist out there where we pull from a very wide geography, and we also help work with people who need some help with balance. And I've helped people do everything from a clergy member needing to hold a holy book over their head and climb stairs at the same time, to somebody who needed to bale hay, to an athlete who needed to get back so she could participate in postseason basketball.
This is National Rehabilitation Awareness Week. We are talking with Jacqueline from Mary Free Bed at Covenant HealthCare, who works in outpatient. Some people can be a little hesitant. I know of a family member who's like, I don't need to go see a physical therapist. Like, why are people hesitant sometimes to work with you, or think, oh, I can just do a couple stretches and I'm fine? What do you say to that person?
So kind of two things. PT kind of has a reputation of wanting to make our patients hurt, and we truthfully do not. We want people to feel better. Sometimes, unfortunately, we do cause a little bit of discomfort during the assessment process, or as you're moving ways you haven't moved before. but that's not ever our like goal. The other thing is because we are so highly trained and with continuing education and just the incoming amount that we have coming out of school, we are movement professionals. So if there's something that's not moving well on you, we can get to the root cause of that and help it move easier more quickly than just doing stretching or strengthening on your own. Sometimes it's just a brief couple of few visits and we can get you feeling better. It doesn't have to be something that you commit to for years and years and years, except you do have to do your home exercise program if your soreness comes back.
Yeah, that's always the joke, right? Is it's more about the work too that you do outside and at home. You're giving them the tools so they can do it and continue it because their life is more than the 2 or 3 times they might see you in the week. They are at their home and sometimes they might need to find exercises they can do where they're leaning on the couch or using a chair
Mm-hmm.
to bend and some things like that. Is that often that you help them use tools at home?
Absolutely. Sometimes I feel like the rehab MacGyver of healthcare because we need to look and see what patients have available at home,
Mm-hmm.
what works best for them, what's easiest for them to do or use. We
Mm-hmm.
might have the best exercise idea in the world, but it doesn't suit the patient. So we get creative and figure out what does suit them.
So why? I mean, you've been doing this for 12 years. You must really enjoy it. It's hard work, obviously, but why do you keep coming into work every day? What keeps you motivated?
Seeing the difference that we can make in people's lives. I had a fellow clinician say one time, like, you will see thousands of patients throughout your career, but your patients may only see a handful of therapists, be they PT, OT, speech. So really leaving that imprint on people's lives is very rewarding. And when I see people out in the community who grab me and say, hey, you were my therapist 5 years ago and I can still climb the stairs, I can still pick up my grandkids. Thank you so much for that. That's just the best.
Yeah. And I mean, so many of the clinicians I've talked to throughout the years, they all have their own personal stories on why they got into healthcare. Is there one that really drove you to do what you do?
Yeah, so when I was 14, my grandmother fell and broke her hip, and she was in her early 80s at the time. She ended up having to have hip surgery. I don't remember the details. I was just a kid. But I remember hearing stories of these healthcare workers that came in and asked her to pick her leg up, and all she could do was wiggle her toes. And they worked with her and they worked with her. And by the time that she was done with therapy, she was able to walk with a cane, but continued living independently until she was 93. And I thought how cool it is to be somebody who could affect that much change in a person's life and keep somebody living independently.
In the amount of people that you impact, there's probably success stories just like your grandma all the time that they
Mm-hmm.
have. Have you had any recent stories you'd like to share about patients you've working with that have been getting back to the things they love about their life?
Yeah, so one of the kind of unique things that I treat is I treat patients with pretty severe headaches. And I had a patient who was an elementary school teacher, and that takes a lot of focus and a lot of concentration. And we were able to decrease her headaches in both severity and frequency. So she was able to prepare for the upcoming school year and get back to teaching with increased ease. And then lots of people getting back to their sports and just being able to do even simple things like, hey, I was able to.
Yeah, I lost you there for a quick second. So you said getting them back to work and getting back to the things they love in life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you must love your team you work with
Mm-hmm.
too.
I do.
What is it like to work on a multidisciplinary team where they might be seeing the OT or the speech at the same time? How do you guys all complement each other and help them in their goals?
It's really a great situation to be in, both within our clinic and across the Great Lakes Bay region, because we have just a great crew over here where if I have a question about a patient, I've got 35, 40 folks that I can reach out to and say, hey, what would you do in this situation? And then when we co-treat with OT, we confer on each other's goals, make sure that we're supporting each other, even if we're
Hmm.
not directly treating the same thing.
And it's also a lot about the continuum too. Someone might be um, at Covenant Healthcare for acute care, and then they come to inpatient at Mary Free Bed at Covenant, and then they come see you on the outpatient team.
Mm-hmm.
So they're part of this system that's helping them return after an injury or illness.
Absolutely. And our inpatient rehab and acute care therapy staffs are wonderful too. And I have definitely reached out to them and said, hey, you saw this patient a couple of weeks ago. What were your thoughts, impressions? And then
And
sometimes it's nice to be able to give them an update too.
yeah, to let them know that the impact they've had has helped them to get farther and farther as they're
Mm-hmm.
finishing their outpatient therapy. So let's really recap. So you work in outpatient as a physical therapist. Remind me some of the services that you and the team offer, and then just some of the places where you guys are at across the region.
So we have 6 locations across the Great Lakes Bay region, including Hemlock, Bay City, Frankenmuth, Saginaw Township, Shields, and downtown Saginaw. Across those locations, we have PT, OT, and speech, both from an orthopedic standpoint as well as a neurological and peds standpoint. Neuro and peds are down at our main campus in downtown Saginaw. And we treat a variety of services from hand therapy to lymphedema, scoliosis management, post-concussion services, especially with fall sports going on right now, vertigo and vestibular rehabilitation, as well as orthopedic rehabilitation. So if anything hurts and you can't move as easily, come see us.
And what if you were having a little bit of pain, you were struggling, you're like, oh man, what do I do? How do they get connected with you or one of the team? How could they get an appointment?
So probably the easiest way is to reach out to your primary care provider and ask for a order for physical therapy, and then you can stop into any one of our locations and we can help get you scheduled.
And if somebody is thinking about going into healthcare, or maybe they're working in another facility and they need a change, how can, why, give me the sell, why should they come work with the team at Mary Free Bed at Covenant Healthcare?
We have a great team. I have been here for 12 years and I wouldn't have stayed here for 12 years if I didn't love and respect the people that I work with, the good work that they do, and the good laughs that we have throughout the course of the day. We have several openings around for both PTs, and I know we have some patient service representative openings as well. And I believe all of those can be found on maryfreebed.com/careers.
Awesome. Well, Jacqueline Kareus, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for the work you do helping our patients. We appreciate you sharing about yourself and why you do what you do. This is the 2023 National Rehabilitation Awareness Week. We are going to be talking all week with different clinicians across the state that work at Mary Free Bed in how they're changing lives and restoring hope and freedom through rehabilitation. Make sure you stay tuned to all of our social media channels to see videos like this. If you have any questions or you're looking to refer yourself or a loved one, go to maryfreebed.com for more information. Thank you so much.
Thank you.